Spring composting can either feel like a clean little miracle or a soggy box of regret. Welcome to RootInsect.com.
And the difference is usually tools, timing, and not overfeeding your worms because you got excited after cleaning out the fridge.
That's the part people don't say out loud enough. Vermicomposting sounds simple, and it is, but it goes a lot smoother when you've got the basics dialed in. Spring's kind of perfect for it too, isn't it?
It really is. The temperatures are milder, so worms are more active and less stressed. And most gardeners suddenly have more organic material around. You've got kitchen scraps, dead spring cleanup debris, maybe some cardboard from seed orders. It's a nice moment to start turning waste into something your soil can actually use.
And that end product is worth the fuss. Worm castings are no joke. Extension research has shown they can contain way more available nutrients than ordinary soil, around 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, and 11 times more potassium.
Which is wild when you think about how humble the process looks. It's basically worms eating leftovers, and somehow you end up with this dark, crumbly material that improves soil structure, helps with water retention, and brings in beneficial microbes. That's the part I think farmers and gardeners both appreciate. It's not just fertilizer, it changes the soil environment.
I saw a figure tied to yield too. Something like soils amended with vermicompost producing around 20% better crop yields compared with untreated soil.
Right, and that's why people get serious about setup. If you're going to do it, you want conditions the worms actually like. The bin matters first. That's your whole ecosystem. For a smaller home setup, stackable trays make sense because they save space and make harvesting easier. If you've got more room or more waste, a single larger bin can be simpler to manage.
I'll admit, I like simple. I'm suspicious of anything with too many trays. Feels like I'm running a worm apartment complex.
See, I disagree. Stackable trays are tidy. You call it an apartment complex, I call it efficient housing.
Fair enough, but whichever bin you use, ventilation matters. If it can't breathe, things go sideways fast.
Exactly. And then I'd say the most underrated tool is the moisture meter. People think they can just eyeball it, and sometimes they can, but worms really do best when bedding stays around 60 to 70% moisture. Too dry, they slow down. Too wet, and now you've got odor, compaction, and unhappy worms trying to escape.
That happened to me once. I thought, they're just adventurous. No, they were filing a complaint.
They were absolutely filing a complaint. A thermometer helps too, especially in spring, when nights can still swing cold. The sweet spot is about 55 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Stay in that range, and worm activity stays pretty steady.
And then there's the humble hand rake or trowel. Not fancy, but useful for gently mixing, fluffing bedding, and checking how things are breaking down.
I'd argue that tool matters more than people think, because aeration is part of keeping the system balanced. You don't want to churn it like cement, but a light turn now and then helps prevent soggy pockets.
So if somebody's choosing tools right now, how should they think about it?
Start with scale. Apartment gardener, compact bin. Small homestead, maybe a couple of medium bins so you can stagger feeding and harvesting. Bigger farm operation, multiple larger bins make more sense than one giant mess. Then think about materials. Plastic is affordable and lightweight. Wood or metal may last longer, but they can behave differently with moisture and temperature.
And ease of use matters more than folks admit. If it's awkward to harvest or hard to reach into, you'll put it off.
That's true. The best setup is the one you'll actually maintain. And if you're coordinating compost with spring planting, keeping your schedule organized matters too. A planning tool can help line up feeding, harvest timing, and when those castings are ready to go into beds or transplants.
That's the bigger picture, isn't it? Vermicomposting isn't just about reducing scraps. It's about building healthier soil without leaning so hard on synthetic fertilizers.
And doing it in a way that's pretty manageable, even in urban spaces. Because when it's run properly, it's relatively odorless. That still surprises people.
So, spring 2026 verdict. Don't just buy worms and hope for the best.
Get a decent bin, monitor moisture and temperature, keep a small hand tool nearby, and remember that your worms are livestock with very low drama, unless you ignore the moisture.
Low drama, high output. My favorite kind of farm worker.
Thank you for listening to this edition of RudeInsect.com, Conversations with Grant and Fiona.